Well, hey, good afternoon. It's Bill Maharis coming to you. Yes, Press Box Overtime. So for those of you that follow me, whether it's on Twitter or YouTube or my Facebook group, I've done a couple interviews or conversations, I like to call them, this summer of all types. I've talked to people that played sports that are my age. I've talked to a few young ladies that just finished their first year of college in sports. And I recently took back that I had started back in 2016, the Cape Coast Conference Twitter account, which covers high school sports here in Brevard. And I noticed a lot of young kids from all over the country and the state actually starting to follow Cape Coast Conference. And then when they saw that I was also Press Box Overtime, they clicked on there. And I was intrigued by the number of young adults from the class of like 2028, 2029, 2030 that already had social media presence. And one young lady that I'm getting ready to talk to in a few minutes was one of the first ones that joined. And I saw 2029. So even though I'm an ex-math teacher, I'm trying to, figure out what age she is now. And I was intrigued by how passionate and how motivated these young individuals are as far as playing a sport, promoting themselves on social media. We know right now with the portal and the NIL, amateur sports is getting a little bit tighter. So I reached out to this young lady who lives about 2,000 miles from me. So this is my first conversation with somebody that has nothing to do with Brevard County. But again, I was intrigued by what I saw on her Twitter account as far as her working out regimen and some other things that we're going to talk about. Reached out to her and talked to her dad just a few minutes ago. And they were nice enough to allow her to speak to me. So she's a young lady, plays soccer up in Long Island, New York. And I am proud, again, to introduce you to somebody that has nothing to do with Brevard County, but everything to do with what I'm intrigued with. And that's Miss Addie Ingwersen.
Hi.
Hi, Addie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So to get started, again, I've been to New York one time. I've never been to Long Island. Are you originally from Long Island, or did your family move there, or what got you to Long Island?
We're from Long Island, born and
Okay.
raised. So.
Okay. All right. At what age did all of a sudden that soccer ball seem to be interesting to you?
Well, I started playing soccer when I was 2. My parents enrolled me in Mommy and Me.
Okay.
From there, I've kind of just took off and love soccer.
Very cool. So when you say Mommy and Me, it kind of reminds me of when I used to coach a T-ball. So the moms, I'm assuming at 2, are out there on the field with you and kind of kicking the ball around, et cetera?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to ask this question later, but since you brought it up, mom or dad have any athletic background when they were in school?
So they both played soccer growing up. My dad, he actually got to the last round of Fordham University tryouts. So
awesome. Very cool. Very neat. Well, listen, that's hard to do. I played 1 year of tennis at junior college, and then somehow we started getting all these guys over from Australia, but I got to keep my racket. That was about as close as I got. Any other sports or anything, or is soccer pretty much your main focus?
So soccer is my main focus, but I do Girl Scouts right now. I'm working on earning my silver award. So.
Okay. Cookies coming up, or is that in the spring? I forgot.
That's in the spring.
It's in the spring.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got to make sure I start putting my dollars away because they're all over the place. So in watching your Twitter account, I know you're on a club team. Talk to me a little bit about that club team and how long you've been with that club as far as working your way up in age groups.
So there's about 3 girls now who have been there since the start, including me.
Okay.
We've picked up girls pretty much from all over, like with the schools and everything. But we have an amazing culture, and I love every single one of the girls like they're my sisters. So.
Very cool. And I'm going to guess it's like when my daughter played soccer. So then when you get into the school season, you're probably playing against a couple of those, if I'm thinking correctly.
Honestly, I wish I was playing against them. Unfortunately, our divisions don't line up.
Gotcha. Okay. And again, it even took me a while to realize how big Long Island is. Are all these young ladies, do they all go to school there on the island?
Yeah, we all are from and go to school here.
Go to there. Good. Now, I saw a little bit you're posting about your high school. Is it like a 7 to what's the age groups of your school that you go to?
So we have a middle school 6th through 8th, and then a high school 9th through 12th.
9th through 12th. Okay. And are they pretty much connected or intertwined at all, or are they just completely separate?
They're pretty much completely separate.
Down here, and we've changed over the years. We used to have 7, 8, 9, and then we used to have 6, 7, 8. And when we took ninth grade out of the middle school, we don't really have a lot of sports. All we have is basketball and track. We're looking to add volleyball and soccer, but that's a good opportunity for young adults like yourself that not only play club, but your school has a soccer team too. Is that correct?
Yes. So the middle school and the high school has a soccer team.
And both has one. Yeah, that's a good step. So you had a busy summer. I saw where you posted. Again, I'm originally from Virginia. I saw you went by William and Mary. What camp were you on your way to?
So I was on my way to UNC Chapel Hill camp.
Okay, and I think they've got, I'm trying to think here real quick, 9 or 10 championships under the belt. I imagine they might have mentioned that during the camp.
Yeah.
So what goes into, is it a group decision as far as you and your parents deciding what camps you want to go to, or how did you come to that place to go to UNC?
So UNC has been one of my dream schools forever, and I've loved watching them play, and I've always wanted to go to one of their games. But both of my parents saw that the camp was coming up, and I really wanted to go, and they were obviously supportive enough to bring me.
Very cool. And that's one of the questions I was going to hit on later. As a parent myself, luckily my son played sports that weren't club involved. My daughter played soccer, so I'm used to driving all over the state. And I know what it goes into to do that and to support you. So that's nice that you took some time off. Now, was that one of the camps where you actually stay on campus?
So we stayed at a hotel right by campus.
Okay.
It was like a 5-minute drive.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I actually have a sister that lives in Raleigh. My daughter lives in North Carolina, so I'm very familiar with that area. I saw you went to a pro game this summer, and I like what you put down there. To be a student of the game, watching soccer helps with my on-field skills. So first, let me ask you this. As you're watching that game live, does anything, do you sit there and go, try to guess what the person with the ball is going to do and see if they do what you thought you might do, or how do you analyze it while you watch and try to enjoy it at the same time?
I mean, it's super exciting to go to all of those games, but I normally plan that out in my head, like seeing where they're going to go. And
Right.
If maybe they go somewhere different, then I take that in and try to incorporate that into my game playing too.
Very cool. Now, do you watch anything online? Do you go online and look at any UNC games and just kind of watch those being replayed?
Yeah, I was actually just watching the William and Mary game the other night. It was an awesome game.
Okay.
And then I was watching the UNC game too. Both of those teams are absolutely amazing. I do watch some the training for the footwork online too, and I try to do that by myself in my front yard.
Very cool. I didn't think about that. I've been trying to watch some of those golf training videos, but I just have to tell you, they're not working out. So hopefully yours are working out better than I did. Talking about tape, another thing that I saw that I thought was simply amazing. So you were in some kind of an auditorium. I saw the chairs, and I'm guessing this was your club coach, and you were actually watching film and going over that. I've never heard of that before. Especially at that age group. Walk me through what does coach do? And I'm guessing you're watching some of your games from last year.
Yeah, so we were watching our game from that previous season, one of our amazing games, and also one of our games where there was a lot of stuff that we had to work on.
Okay.
We try to do this once to twice a month, and the auditorium's in our local library.
Okay.
But we always have such a fun time doing it, and our coach he goes over pretty much every single thing that we need to go over for that game and more for the next games or the past games.
Wow, very cool. So I'm curious, when you go into those sessions, and you remember what they get. You know what? I apologize. I forgot to ask you what position you play.
Oh, I play striker and wing.
Okay, so when you go into those and you know what game's going to be on there, I'm curious, knowing how much you watch soccer and whether it's live or online, did you have some thoughts already in your mind about what you thought coach might pick up on as far as what you did well and maybe needed to work on? Did you already have something in your mind already?
Yeah, so we record those games on Trace, and we get the feedback after the game happens, like 24 hours after. And we go through the game and we pick out some highlights where we did good and some highlights where we need to improve upon.
Good. I like what you just said there. And again, I was blessed to coach high school girls lacrosse as an assistant coach. And 2 of those years, my daughter played. I like that you said what you need to work on instead of doing something bad. And that was the way we used to tell our team as well. There are opportunities to improve. And it sounds like your coach is a very positive gentleman as far as that goes. I saw in one of your posts, you mentioned about being a team captain. Was that for school or for club?
So that's for club.
Okay. Is it something that the team picks, or does the coach pick the captains?
The coach picks the captain. So right now we have 3.
Okay. And as a captain, which I've always, both my kids were captains, and I think they took pride in being in that position. How do you look at yourself and the other young ladies as far as being captains? What do you think your responsibilities are to serve in that role?
So we all think like our responsibilities are to make sure that we organize the warm-ups before the games, then practices to make sure those are going smoothly. We make sure everybody knows what color, where, and when we're playing for the next day, the night prior to. Right. And then we also just make sure everyone's having a great time while still focusing on what we need to do.
Very good. I like that. And I think that's real important is having a good time. Mm-hmm. And with that, everything else kind of falls in place. Let's see what I got here next. So before I get into social media, I saw some of your tapes or your videos as far as working out. How did you develop your physical regimen as far as whether it's running or going to the weight room, which exercises to do that helps you as far as a soccer player? Was it something your coach or parents? How did you develop that?
So my dad saw Peyton Costello. She plays at William & Mary now. Okay. She went to this facility, VSP, and we went there, checked it out. It's right by me, and we absolutely loved it. And as I've been going there, it's helped me with my speed, my agility, and my strength so much.
Wow, that's great. I'm trying to think. People used to ask me when I was your age if I worked out, and I tell them I did forklifts, usually when I had dinner. That's about as close as I got was picking up my fork. I didn't do too much in the weight. Probably why I only weighed 140 when I got out of high school. So I'm curious, and this is something I talked to you and your dad about a few minutes ago on the phone, and got a lot of information from you and your dad, just kind of learning about the world of amateur sports now and looking to play at the next level. So how did it come about that you joined Twitter? Was it something you and your parents sat down with? Was it something you saw other young ladies your age doing? What brought you to that place?
So I saw the older girls, they always used it, and that's how they got recruited by college coaches. That's one of the main factors. And I figured, well, may as well start now instead of later. And as I've been posting more, college coaches have been starting to recognize me, and people just like you.
Wow, very cool. And again, that is how I think there was I think it was a young lady out in Arizona somehow just popped up on my Twitter, and I liked it. And then, like you say, then you see it and somebody else sees it. And that's one thing I really enjoy doing most on any of my social media, sharing things that like young people like yourself that are doing, because I just think it's great. And I just love to see, like I mentioned earlier, the passion and the commitment that people like yourself at your age make. The young lady, I talked to 2 young ladies this summer that just finished their first year of college, and they used field level. Is that something you've used or heard of as far as a place? And I forgot. I think like in football, it's like Huddle, I think. But it's where people post all their videos and that type of thing. So I was just kind of curious how that worked out. And I know, just kind of like what you said, so with your social media, you've gotten, is it just like likes or shares from some colleges? What pings that makes you know that, okay, somebody's paying attention?
So likes and reposts.
Okay, very cool. And you're probably like me, you like it right back as soon as they do that, so that they know you're watching. And again, I had no idea that this early age that coaches would start, but like your dad and I were talking about, it's so competitive. Mm-hmm. And like he said, when you see other young ladies like yourself, it's like, well, it's like I used to tell them, you either get on the train or you get left behind.
Mhm.
So do you notice a lot of young ladies in your club that are thinking about playing at the next level, doing that as well?
So I know many girls in my club want to play at that college level, but they haven't started with the whole Instagram and Twitter thing yet.
Right. One thing that I did not realize until my daughter got to play soccer, probably U14, 15, maybe 13. And I'm curious if you've heard this, that we were told that a lot of colleges, they look at your club sport almost more than they do your high school. Is that something you've heard at your age?
Yeah, so I've heard many. So club teams go to more tournaments, and that's where all of the teams and the players get discovered by the coaches.
Okay, yeah, I did not realize that until she started playing soccer, and then when she played lacrosse and went to some of the showcase. One thing that I saw on your Twitter account here is that you have a 4.0 GPA. Congratulations!
Thank you.
School year, how do you balance that? Because I'm sure you're either practicing every day, or you're in the weight room, or you're running. How do you have a planner? How do you set that schedule?
So I pretty much have soccer or go to the gym every single day. So I pretty much just focus on school. That's my first priority, and then comes sports. But I manage everything pretty well.
Very good for you. Well, that shows with your now. I know it's different all over the country. Have you all started school yet up there?
Oh, we start September 4th.
September 4th.
Yeah.
Okay. I know some are still like after Labor Day, and
Mhm.
of course down here I think we've already gotten a couple weeks in. So, how long have you been on Twitter? Is it just been this year?
Yeah, I started in May.
In May. Okay. What advice do you have? And like we talked about before, as I share this, and hopefully a lot of young boys and girls your age will watch this. If there's anybody, whether it's soccer or any other sport, um, what advice would you give them as far as starting social media, whether it's working with their parents, what kind of information to put up there? What advice would you give them that might want to do the same?
I mean, just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Go and follow and like all of these posts and accounts, and then soon you'll be found. Just try to post every now and then, even if it's every day. Like, do that so you have more views, but just don't be afraid.
Good. You know, it's like I used to tell kids, and that's great advice to give. It's like going on a roller coaster the first time, or jumping off the diving board at the pool. That first time is scary, but usually when you're done, you can't wait to go back on.
Yeah.
So that's great advice. You just got to get started,
Mhm.
somewhere. And when I was assistant principal and a dean at middle school, and I promoted kids to, whether it was sports or anything, to get involved. And sometimes kids at the middle school think that all the superstars are already at the high school. There's no room for them to go. And I tell them, you just got to start. And sometimes they'll be surprised as far as that goes. So as we wrap up, as far as promoting yourself on social media, you, especially with school starting, you block a little bit of time, take a quick look, see who's on there, do some likes and shares, and just kind of make that commitment just to at least stay up to date. Is that kind of how you look at it?
Yeah, so I try to get on Twitter a couple times a day.
Okay.
Try to just go through the feed, do as much as I can, and then if I have the time, I will make a post.
Oh, good. So I know it's different sometimes in different part of the counties. In the fall, do you have school soccer up there or club soccer? How does that work in your area?
So in the fall, I have club and school, and then in
Okay.
the spring, I just have club.
Just have club. Okay. So you have club and school at the same time. Yeah, I think down here they don't do the club the same time they do the school. But we start soccer like November to February. And then I think they have soccer. So clubs, actually kind of like you, they have 2 seasons. Those couple of months that went between, they don't do anything just to let the girls play on their high school team. So as you get into your new season with your club team, whether it's with your coach or with your parents or with yourself, because I see you definitely are a student of the game. Do you set any, I'm trying to look at the word, any goals for this year as far as what you hope to do better in, or how do you look at the year coming up?
So I set goals for myself and for my teams,
Okay.
and I try to achieve those goals by the end of the year. If that doesn't happen, then I try to set them for the next season. But
Good.
I pretty much try to achieve every single goal I set.
Well, good for you. Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate you spending some time with me. Again, I'm a little jealous. Your dad told me what the temperature is up there. So hopefully one of these days we'll get a little bit cooler. But I just think it's great. I enjoy watching you on Twitter. And again, you're the epitome of a young individual that knows the importance of doing in the classroom the same thing as do on the field. I like the idea as far as, working out at the gym, watching film. That's very impressive. And I just wanted to take a few minutes and share your story with the people here in Florida and hopefully some up there in New York to watch. So I wish you the best this school year, best in your school team and your club team. Press Box will be keeping posted on how you do. And again, I thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
All righty. So that was Addie Ingwersen. Again, just amazing that these young individuals that haven't even quite got to high school yet, just how serious they are as far as looking at that big picture, playing at the next level, going to camps, social media, watching game film, working out in the gym, and as a dad and as an ex-teacher and administrator, still has a 4.0 in the classroom. So the Press Box certainly does appreciate Addie spending some time with us today, and certainly hope that you enjoy watching it. And who knows, maybe there's somebody that might watch this video and say, you know what, I can do that too. And as we mentioned, you either get on the train or you watch it go by. She's on the train and it's got a long way to go, and we're happy for her. This is Bill Harris coming to you from Press Box Overtime. As we always say, sports, it's a lot more than just a game. Enjoy the rest of your day.